What's up? This is Chris, the Stat Guy, and welcome to the Stat Guy Show.
Jump on Ryan. Ryan was just laid on the light, and I was like, "Oh, that's good."
Yeah, Giuseppe will just, if you're watching him long enough, he'll jump. That's what he does. We don't call him Mr. Kangaroo for nothing.
Really a team sport anyways. Whenever we talk team, it's about having each other's backs. It's about helping each other.
One thing that we do good at is putting on a show.
Live on the Statman Show, and I know people and powers that be, I know that you watch this show.
What is up? Welcome to the Stat Guy Show, episode number 73. Joining me tonight is a pretty much a regular on the Stat Guy Show, and a multiple-time MPK Invitational winner, Mr. Jim Howe. How you doing, sir?
Buddy, I'm good. How about you?
Good, good. Hey, man. So you're just getting back from Vegas, I see.
Yep.
Let's talk about that. You were out there for a little. I was following your social media. You were out there for a little while. What doing some sightseeing, or what was all that all about?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Doing taking care of some business also. I've got a new business that we've started. It's been about 2 years in the making. And getting hitting the ground running, so to speak,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, did you go out there probably a week or two before? Or
yeah, I left from Idaho and went there.
Okay.
So the stuff that I was trying to upload is telling me invalid file type. That's annoying.
It's all right. We got other stuff we could talk about and do.
I tell everybody that proper planning prepares for how does that saying go? Well, it's been a long day. Improper planning ensures piss poor results. That's
something like that.
It's kind of where we're at right now. A lot of improper planning today. Man, that really sucks. I wanted to show something, but yeah. So we were out there for a couple of weeks. We left Tennessee going to Washington, and we never came back home until last night. Wow. So we've had a lot going on and a lot we're trying to do, and it's been good at times and then not so good at others. So like it's one of those things. We've had a long journey this year.
Right. And obviously as a business owner, you have stuff going on while you're gone. You have people you can rely on, obviously, to be gone that long, or was it hectic when you came back today?
Oh no, I don't even know. My staff doesn't even know I'm home. So yeah, my guys have been great. Roy Turner and Rick Abadewski run my business when I'm gone, and no matter where I roll, I can't get this thing in the right place. It drives me crazy that my head's not centering the screen, so I'm trying to move around.
Well, that's pretty good. You're pretty center. I know there's a lot of it. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. So we were just out there trying to take care of business.
Yeah, I noticed there's a lot of racing, a lot of drag racing events going on, big ones this weekend. Did you ever have plans to do any of them? The Outlaw Armageddon, any of the Pro Mod stuff? Run the Guardian as a Pro Mod, anything like that?
Well, no, not. The deal is the Guardian is as light as it can get in NPK trim. I don't have a bunch of weight in the car. We have about 25 pounds that we can take out of the car. So I can't get light enough. I think at the Pro Mod race, I think I can be 2650 over there. Okay. And even with the weight that I've lost, I'm as of today, I had a doctor's appointment earlier today. I was 245 pounds fully clothed. So that is about 83 pounds lighter than I was when I won my first invitational
that's
a few years
awesome.
ago. So that's been a remarkable change in my life, and I'm right where I was when I wrestled in college. Right now in weight, so makes me happy to have been able to keep it off and trying to stay in shape. And I had everybody knows if you're around me much, you see me limping every now and then, and you'll see my back hurting. I think after multiple doctors and specialists and so on and so forth, I actually found a cutting edge chiropractor here local that I believe has figured out what's wrong with me. And so today I'm, first visit with him today, and I got some relief. And the good news is it's going to be fixable and not something I'm going to have a bunch of surgery and stuff on, it looks like. So, that's a good thing. But feels good to be home, at least for a couple of days. But yeah, so I can't get light enough to run in Pro Mod. And if I wanted to put a 125-pound driver in the car that was tall enough to reach the pedals, then we could be competitive like that. I need one of them lightweight guys to jump in. But really, I needed to get back here and put this stuff together for Martin, Michigan. Now, Chris and Dan, they are over at Flying H right now helping Pez and get that stuff done. So that they're over there helping with those guys, and that means a lot, for me, for those guys to be over there doing that.
Right. And
it was just easier. If I hadn't had to come home for the appointment, I probably would have went over there anyway. But we've had a rough go of it, to say the least. And
yeah, let's talk about that a little, Jim. Let's get into the ups and downs of the 2024 season for you. Let's go back to the beginning. Let's start with the first race in Maple Grove. Obviously, you won that event. I think it was your third No Prep Kings Invitational win. But really, you were there at that event to prove something about the combinations. For those that don't know, what were you there to do, and what got changed because of what you did? Okay,
so two lips will say anything. So there's going to be plenty of people who have their own opinions. So I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say it the way that it is, and it can't be refuted. You can argue if you'd like, but it's really pointless because it's literally the way the rules are written, and it cannot be refuted. So last year, they allowed essentially a 481X to run at big block weight. And so back it up a little bit. I wrote rules for a number of years. I've helped many sanctioning bodies with rules. And when I approached Alan Johnson, 2016, we had a set of rules in LDR that called out the 481X for a weight penalty. And I didn't, we didn't have any problems. Everybody kind of understood what a 481X was. And so the deal is a 481X is a brand of a motor. The problem with the rule set is that the rule set labeled a brand. It'd be like saying there's no 959 Chevrolet motors allowed, but a 959 Ford could be allowed. A 959 Dodge could be allowed, but it was really just an oversight in the way the rules were written. So we pointed it out last year, and of course the internet experts chimed in and said, Damon's was not a 481X, but the reality of it is a 481X was built originally by Alan Johnson, and Alan Johnson was the man who came up with the entire deal. And what it was originally intended to do was to give the Chevrolet motor a fighting chance in the top alcohol funny car and top alcohol dragster ranks. And essentially, in layman's terms, and Alan Johnson coined it for me, and I had the email still from 2017. And I said, explain to me what a 481X is in layman terms. And he said a 481X is a wedge head, deep skirted Y block with cross bolted mains. So it takes away the factory Chevrolet block, that design, and it goes to a cross bolted main block with a wedge head. And so that's essentially what it is, because on a Chevrolet motor, and I ran Chevrolet stuff for years, and I still would if they made a platform that we could put that kind of power to. And mind you, this was 2016. There's a lot's happened since 2016 in technology. So the rules were written that a 481X and hemispherical, here's the thing, you got to pay attention to the wording in the rules. 481X and any hemispherical chamber had to carry 100 pounds. Well, I told him last year, I said, look, man, that's a 481X and you're letting it run 100 light. The motor makes the same power as what we can make with these things. That big 9-cylinder head's a bad hombre. That's a monster. You couple that with the F4 136 and give them 100 pounds off plus 100 pounds for the 136 Pro Charger. It made a big loophole in the rules, and there's nothing wrong with finding those. I tell everybody, go out and get them. That's why they're there. I fully intend on exploiting another one next year. We're working on we're working on a set of rules right now, or something that's in the rules right now, and we're going to exploit it in 2026. So remember this conversation. In 2026, there is a set of rules in the rule book right now, and we are going to come out and run within that rule set. And I expect they'll change the rule, but it's okay because we're planning ahead, and I have a bigger reason for doing it. So now going into this year, non-hemispherical chamber. We didn't put the internals of our motor out on the internet for everybody to see, but we did send the cylinder head to Lonnie Grimm at NHRA and simply stated, hemispherical chamber or not? The answer was not, because it wasn't. And so we showed up at Maple Grove, and we never intended to run at the lighter weight. I intended to get the rule changed, and we did. They would not let me run at the wedge weight or at the 481X weight or at not the 481X, but they wouldn't let me run at a standard weight. I had to run at the Hemi weight or a 481X weight, and I was fine with that. That's all I ever wanted to begin with.
Right.
So, however, if they hadn't changed it, we were immediately planning on putting a 3-speed in the car and putting a lockup in it and running a 3-speed lockup with that deal, because it was fast, and it's still fast right now. And that, I was happy that we got some revision made in the rule set. It wasn't meant to hurt any one individual, despite what somebody would like to think. We just wanted something that, would be a fair set of rules moving forward. Right. So I feel like we got them. There's a couple things that are still left in the rule book, and I will bring it to people's attention. I will ask questions and wait on it to be changed. If it doesn't get changed, then, we're going to go out and run inside that rule set, and we'll see how it plays out. And that's what the intention is next year. I have something that we're going to have some fun with. It's going to be fast. It's going to be super fast. But the reason that I'm doing it is really not for NPK. It's a no time deal that we're going to put together. And it'll be light. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for. We're going to bring it out hopefully at the first race, we'll have that deal together. First race of 2025. But, if I don't expect for it to stay in the rule set, but if it does, then we'll have something we don't have to beat on as hard as what we do right now. But right now, overall, I feel like the rules are pretty fair. I do. I think that the 25 pounds they took off the Pro Charger earlier in the year, before the first race, I think that might put it dead even. But there again, you don't know. I don't, on a good run, I have no problem racing any of them, and we've shown that. So I guess, if you look at it like that, maybe they're a lot closer than they are. So I don't know. I can't base it off of me. Our program is we've just experienced a whole lot of stuff that I wish we hadn't have. But we're learning, and I'm going to try something here. I tried to load this stuff on the page, but it's not wanting to work. And I don't know how this is going to work. So we're gonna play with it here because it's kind of cool. And if people are watching, I think they'll like this.
Let's see it.
And you have to be you have to know something. Also, anybody that every week when we get on our page and I'll say, hey, this happened or that happened, there's always a couple, ding dongs who are like, that's all we ever hear from you is excuses. And, I hope I don't come off like I'm making excuses because I'm certainly not. I like telling people, like what we're seeing and why we're having a problem. Like when people ask what happened, well, when you tell them what happened, and then you got some armchair quarterback who says, that's all I ever hear from you is excuses. Well, I mean, what do you want me to say? All right, I'm going to try something. Let's see if this works. Gosh, that looks like, and it's even harder. You ever try doing this in front of a screen? It's even harder when you have to hold the thing up. All right, this is a picture of a data log from my car this past weekend. That bottom purple line, that's a timing graph. Green line's a drive shaft RPM. Red line is engine RPM, and it's gone. Okay, hang on. I told you this is going to be difficult. I wish I could have uploaded this photo on here.
Let's see if I can change the layout here once. No, that's all you get. Sorry.
All right. So if you see the little dips in the timing, you'll see some ups and some downs and whatever. That really is just where we're plotting the timing curve, and it sees a little too much drive shaft. It'll knock a little timing out. Okay. That's pretty standard look. I'm okay with that. You remember last year when we had points box issues and we had all them problems, we kept burning up points boxes?
Yep.
All right. When all that was happening, and yes, there's going to be somebody on chat, and I'll explain this. We're going to go through it. Yeah, Devin Lowe on chat right now, 19th place, LOL. That's what I'm talking about. Like I won the first invitational, and yep, I'm in 19th place. That happens.
Yep.
And it doesn't matter how you answer those guys. There's nothing you can do. I'm glad that he is here to keep us in check. So same graph, different run. You see that big spike in the timing?
Uh-huh.
Just to give you an idea, that's 90 something degrees of timing.
Wow.
It goes up, goes back, disappears. Okay. We have no idea. Like we first started seeing this last year, every so often we'd see this. And I ask questions. I talk to people who I think are a lot smarter than I am. And they tell me that it's noise. It's noise. It's a dirty signal. It's noise. Don't worry about it. Well, it is our opinion that they are dead ass wrong. There's another one. That's at the top end of the racetrack. 80, 90 degrees of timing at the very top end of the track, just all of a sudden. Split seconds.
Are you feeling this at all?
Huh?
Do you feel it at all?
No, you can't feel it in the car. It's just it's a millisecond, like bam, 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 like that, and it'll go back down to normal. What we've realized is, I went back to when we were breaking points boxes last year. Every time we have a points box that's about to go out, this will happen. You'll see it. Well, if you remember back last year, we had points box problems. And then we also had some engine problems. We had some stuff that would break and tear up. And I kept being told by some experts at MSD that this was just noise, static. Don't worry about it. You'll never see this in a spark plug. We pull a plug out, that instantaneous spike, you don't ever see it. It's not there long enough for it to affect anything. But what it is causing is it's causing a lot of valve train harmonics, a lot of problems inside the valve train on the motor. And so some folks know out there, and this is a perfect platform for me to talk about it. Some folks know that we had the PJS motor in all year, and I took it out this past weekend. Well, the reason I took it out is because the other PJS motor was in Texas, and I only had the one in the trailer. And, we got Kayla busted my tail Friday night. We launched the blower off the car, and it was like everything was good. We were on a pretty decent run. The car was just starting to make its move, and bow, it knocked the blower off. And we came back, and it's so disappointing, so disheartening to get out there and know that, like, man, we have sucked all year. It has just been terrible as far as the season has went. Like it's like my guys work their tails off. Everybody sacrifices, and then I go out there and screw it up. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, I'm the guy that tunes this thing. So when there's a problem, it's on me. But, I literally, Brandon Pez, he's come over, he's looked at data. We've looked at all this stuff. We've tried to figure out, like, why is it that my motor and my car is doing something different than anything else he's got out there doing it? And we're trying to make it make sense. Well, I started going back and comparing this stuff to other runs where you back up 3 or 4 runs before the car broke, before it tore it up. And you'll see that anomaly. You'll see that spike in the ignition timing. And you'll see it where, sometimes, like, that looks horrific, what I was showing you. That looks terrible. But wait till I show you one that I was showing you some of the better ones. It wasn't even the bad ones. There's some of them that literally look like a seismograph. And, it's really discouraging. But it was kind of like an aha moment whenever we finally figured it out. And, I don't know what else to say except, don't worry, guys. When we show up on race day, we are doing everything in our power to win rounds. And, we've had just some really goofy stuff happen. And
yeah,
this is part of it. And we couldn't quite figure out where it was all coming from. But when I started going back to last year, looking at logs, and I figured out that, like 3 or 4 runs before all that, this is when it shows itself. So Todd Dempster has got a thing. Could it be a bad ground? Todd, I literally had the engineer from MSD at the track in Vegas. He couldn't find anything wrong with the wiring. We took the car and had it rewired and had Victory Wiring do it, who does all the Haltech stuff. It appears to be that when one of these points boxes starts to go bad, before it actually fails, it will show me that telltale sign. It will show me that jumping up and down. Now, that is the difference. Like, these rest of these guys run coil on plug and they run EFI. And, I'm running mechanical injection and I'm running the magneto. So the reality of it is that we're building a Pro Mod car. I've kind of made it public. Most people know. I announced it back, I think, 4 months ago that we were going to do some Pro Mod racing in the future. And my Pro Mod car will be coil on plug and electronic fuel injection for the first time in my life. We're going to give it a whirl. I will bounce back and forth between electronic fuel injection and mechanical injection, but I do think that we're going to do the coil on plug just to try to prevent, some of these problems. And that, I don't know. I've talked to, Phil Schuler helps me out quite a bit. And if you don't know who Phil Schuler is, I would consider him to be the authority in blown alcohol. Phil was Steve Jackson's crew chief for a number of years, a Stevie Fast guy. He's been a top fuel tuner for years. he's been there and done that, and he's taught me a lot. In the past 20 years, Phil has taught me an awful lot of stuff. And I let Phil look at the stuff, and what happens is that we either have a coil that goes bad and then the points box fails, or we have a points box that goes bad and then the coil fails. So now we know, and like literally right after it banged the blower against Kayla, it hurt some valve train. Well, I didn't want to have another weekend where we had the motor all the way apart just to go into the second chance race when I had my Noonan headed motor that's my design in the trailer. And we've been fast. I've been 368, I think 368 with that motor in legal trim. So it's a good piece. But we were hurting it a bunch last year because when I have to stand on it, we were tearing it up. So now we're kind of figuring out that maybe that, all this was part of it. And we just never noticed the correlation. Now that being said, we go to Martin, Michigan, we put the PJS motor in it, and I go out there and it bangs the blower and tears up a bunch of shit. Then, and we don't have this goofy spike in the timing that I don't know what to do. It's a bad situation really from where I'm at, because there's part of me that says I can leave the 4.8 deal in there. And I know at Martin, Michigan, we can run bottom 70s. And that's probably good enough to go to a final and probably good enough to win a race. Kyle Reynolds, that is exactly how the car is done. It has a Pentagon ground, and all of the mag and all that electronics is in an isolated area all by itself, nowhere near the rest of the electronics. All these things are great. Everybody in the chat, like, they're all great ideals, and it's all stuff that we do when we build these cars. It's something I've done for years. We have dirty grounds, we have clean grounds. And it's like, it did it on the car that I wrecked, and it's done it on this car. It's an oddity in itself. But what it boils down to is there's a module inside the points boxes that is called a FET module. If you know electronics, then you'll know what a FET module is. During the pandemic, the manufacturer for MSD's FET modules went out of business, and they had to find a new FET module supplier. And so all of my points boxes were bought post-COVID. Now, I was fortunate enough, I actually bought all of Ryan Martin's mags from his season 2 deal when he ran the 481X in the mag. I bought all of his Magneto stuff from him. And all of that is pre-COVID. So we're getting ready to put that stuff on the car. And hopefully we can get, when they're good, they're good. Like, in other words, right now it's doing fine. It's not making the spikes. Everything's great. But when it does it, that's whenever it causes the motor to, basically it's trying to light the motor off at 90 to 100 degrees of time, and just for a split second. And then it goes back to normal, and then it'll spike back up again. And it's just, it's a crazy anomaly. And it's actually why I'm talking about it on this live, because even though we have some guys who get on here who, probably couldn't find their way around a Walmart without getting lost, we do have some really intelligent people who get on here from time to time also. And it's a good thing to be able to put it out there, because somewhere there's probably somebody over here who will look at this and be like, hey, I know exactly what that is. I know exactly how to fix that. And so that's why it's good. And that's why I don't care to share. Because I didn't wake up one morning with all the answers. Like, this is 35 years of doing this and learning what I've done. Todd Dempster, how long is a mag good for? A mag is usually, we usually don't have mag failures. Usually you have one of these things happen. And then when that points box goes bad, it stores up a bunch of energy. And that causes it, then it does all kinds of crazy shit. But mags, I have System 1 out in California do all my mags, and they rebuild my points boxes, do all my stuff. It's just, we're seeing something that is an anomaly, and we've been down the ground thing. We've been down like it's just, believe me, like, I called the engineer at MSD and he said, oh, it's a ground issue. I said, well, you come out here and you can rewire the car. I'll pay you. You can bring somebody to do it. Whatever you got, I don't care. But they came out and looked at it, and they were like, hey, nothing wrong with the wiring. There's nothing wrong with the way it's grounded. We don't have an answer. And then we figured out that it was that FET module. And then there again this year, every time that we've had these mechanical issues, if I go back and back up the runs, I'll start seeing that timing spike. That timing spike will be there. So is it possible that it could be the ECM that I run? It is possible. It is possible that my timing controller could be doing that. Not likely, but it is possible. So for that, we have went ahead and swapped boxes, and we're going to try to eliminate that. And then the next thing is I'm going to swap manufacturers. And we're going to go to a different manufacturer, and we're going to try it like that. I don't know where. I don't have the answer. I cannot tell you guys right now that we're going to show up at Martin, Michigan and be flawless, because so far we have yet to do that except for the first race of the year or a test and two. Now, if I go test, I mean, we could probably test for 3 days and never heard anything, but show up on race day and I shit goes to the wayside. But it's been a tough deal. It's been tough. It's been tough financially. It's been tough emotionally. And, you know, here you are, like I'm sitting, really all I need to do is go a couple rounds at Martin.
To comment on that, you really, if you can go like 2 rounds, you'll be at 98 points, and that was pretty much where the cutoff is going to be around. So
right, and like really, I mean, it normally speaking, if you told me, Jim, you just got to go 2 rounds at this next race and you're good. Well, I mean, traditionally, it doesn't matter who I draw. I mean, we're going to go a couple rounds. I don't care who I draw. And then all year, you know, when we started the year out, I'll tell you something, and I hope the Lord is listening right now, because I literally, you know, I pray quite a bit. I pray all the time. And I also, just so you guys know, I prayed at the beginning of the year for no gifts. I didn't want any gifts. I wanted to go out and be dominant. And I didn't want people to say that, you know, so-and-so made it was an easy run, that's why I won, or, you know, this happened or that happened, and that's why you won. And I literally prayed to the Lord for no gifts. And now, I'm never going to make that again. I'm going to pray to the Lord, give me all the gifts that you can give me, sir, because I am not capable without them. And it's been a bad deal. And like my guys, Chris and Dan and Amanda and hell, even Blaze, you know, Blaze said I look like Reaper the other day. He said, Dad, he said, our race program's looking like Reaper. So, I mean, I don't know what to say. You know, I mean, we're doing the best we can, but there's an answer for that too, because Reaper knows that I'm just kidding around. And I'm not going to pick on this guy, Michael Prod. Don't think that I'm picking on you, because it's literally what I was getting ready to talk about, and you just brought it up. He said, no one's easy out there on MPK, maybe just Chuck until he gets the new car figured out. But here's the deal. When you look at, and this is what I was about to say, you look at how big of a 180 Chuck has done with his program. He's done a great job, and they're really starting to go places. If you think about the teams who have struggled, you think about Dominator, you think about all these other guys who are really, you know, they put as much effort or more in it as anybody does, and they just can't seem to get a grip on things for whatever reason. In 36 years of me racing, this is the toughest season that I have ever had. It's been the toughest, you know, just all the way around. So, you know, whatever the silver lining is here is yet to see. I'm hoping that I can do one of my traditional, you know, back half comebacks and really pour it on here at the backside of the year. I would at least end it on a good note. And I tell people that all the time. You'll see me comment. I have people all the time who are like, well, what place are you in points? And I always tell them, I don't care where I'm at in points. Like, I don't go in on race day and worry about where I'm at in points. I go in on race day with the objective to win the race. And I don't do anything different. And I don't keep up with the points, because the points are not an indicator on who is the faster car or the better racer. And I mean, that's a fact. Whether anybody out there wants to agree with it or not, there are some really powerful racers who are not number one in points right now.
Mm-hmm.
Throw me out of the mix. Don't even talk. Just don't even put me in the mix. There's some studs who have cars that are faster, that aren't as high at the top as they need to be because of just the forces that be, I guess. You know what I'm saying? The all the things that we have to overcome on race day.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Luis, there's no actual lock, but yes, at about halfway through the season, I calculated that the 16th spot would probably be around 95 to 100 points. So, and it's pretty much looking like that right now. So I think around 100 points will probably lock you in if you can get to the 100-point mark.
And you and I talk, Chris, like, you know, we've talked about it forever. Like I can't think of a time where I haven't told you that, like, we did good, we tested good, things are great, and then we go out there on race day, and I can literally go back and pick off every mistake that I made, you know, on race day, and I don't know what else to say. You know, I mean, it's going to be what it'll be. I'll tell you what I told my guys when we left Vegas. I said, guys, here's the deal. Here's how this is going to go. We are going to go to Michigan. We are either going to do well, in which case we'll get up in the 16, and we'll continue to race no prep elite for the rest of the season. Or we're going to go out to Michigan. We're going to shank it. And then we're going to come home and we'll keep working on the Pro Mod program, and we're going to put radios on this thing, and we're going to go radio racing. And that's just, I mean, that's really the reality of it all. It's either one way or the other.
Right.
Yeah, and Jason Carey, you're correct. Points determine a championship. I told you there's some smart guys on here, Stat.
Always. There's a lot.
Nothing gets past that guy.
Jim, I wanted to ask you, obviously, I hope you have your timing issue figured out, because I think all the fans, especially me, have been waiting. I know you have a really, really fast car, you know, up there at near the top of the fastest cars any given weekend. And we just haven't seen it, right, since the first race. So I'm hoping you can come out and have a fast, badass hot rod. And to talk about the top 16, getting in, I know you have heard, and I know it's probably even putting more pressure on you to get in the top 16, but that a little birdie told me that anybody who's in the top 16 might have a legitimate chance to win a championship yet, without getting into it at all, really. But if you're in the top 16, you will have a chance at the championship the way the No Prep Elite will work this season. So,
and that's how it should be. I'm sorry, but that's how it should be. I'm a big fan of doing it like that, and so we'll just go. We'll go see what we can do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, here's the thing. There's no excuse, period. One thing I can promise you, we will go fast at Martin, Michigan. Unless a snowstorm hits or a sandstorm comes in and blows the track full of dust. And, you know, I mean, like, I look at all the things that have come up. The last 4 races have not been in conditions that my car is real happy in.
mm-hmm.
But none of that matters, because at the last 4 races, we've managed to have some sort of issue.
Yeah.
And there it is. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. Last year at Martin, Michigan, it rained, and it rained some more.
Yeah.
And it rained some more.
Yeah.
And then it was cold. And then what do? We go up there first round, and the car hooks right for no reason. Mm-hmm. Hey, Nick Bradley, do me a favor. Eat a dick.
There you have it.
See, when you try telling somebody what happens, they go right there with it. Here comes the excuses.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you're just telling what happened. I mean,
yeah. Like, I mean, if somebody wants to know what happens, you tell them what happens, and here comes an excuse.
Yeah.
No, Nick, you're not like me. You're on the computer talking about racing, and I'm on here talking about when I'm racing. There's a big difference. You're right. You're not like me. You're on the keyboard.
I've noticed at Martin, I've watched the PDRA was there earlier this year. And I noticed like Martin is not, especially with no prep, I'm guessing it's not really that fast of a track. The times they were running PDRA weren't comparable really to other tracks. So I think the no prep this next weekend, I think it really is a lot of people's chances to win. Honestly, you don't really have to have the horsepower. You don't have to have all that stuff like you would at say Alabama. So I really think it's going to be. You might see somebody new. I mean, somebody might come out that hasn't won in a while or at all, and they might have a good chance at winning in Martin. So,
well, fastest pass I've ever made has been at Martin, Michigan. So,
really? Well, I watched the PDRA, and all their times were slower than other places, but
yeah,
Martin's usually.
So I'll help you because I track weather because there's a couple PDRA guys that I help. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
PDRA at Martin, the density altitude was through the roof. It was hot, humid, horrible, like was not good. I suspect that Martin, Michigan will be fast. I've been 60s at Martin. So like and it's usually like to give you an idea, Vegas, the starting line was pulling. You know, when you get old, it's a good thing for a smartphone because I keep notes. It's a good thing now. So starting line was pulling 210, 220. Not real good at all. 210, 220. 250 at 60 foot. Track temp was 103. Martin, Michigan. I have last year at Martin, Michigan at the night race, track temp was like 87 and it was pulling 260 to 280 on the starting line.
Oh, wow.
And it was pulling 340 out in the middle.
Okay. So what you're saying is that was just a bad weekend for PDRA when they were there?
Yeah. So there's a lot of moisture. There was a lot of moisture in the air. And a lot of density altitude. Richard Harper has a question. Am I still learning the PJS motor? Because I feel like I was more consistent with the Noonan. Well, it kind of, Richard, if you were watching the beginning of it, we kind of talked about why that was. And, are we still learning the PJS motor? Yes. But, we've been the fastest pass my car has ever made to date has been with the PJS motor. Now, that being said, it's about 300ths quicker than my 4.8 motor. But 300ths is a lot right now. In MPK, 300ths is the difference between getting your ass drug and not. Now we're going to go faster. If you've seen, did you see how fast Cole Pez went last night?
Yeah. Yep.
Cole Pez went 370, 203 last night. And
yep. Someone just posted he went 369. Scott.
Yeah, he should have. He should have. The air last night was 3,500 feet over there. It was horrible.
That's fast.
Yeah. Like, I mean, it's and everybody's fast. That's the thing. The difference is some of us will post our times. Some of us don't care. I personally, I wish scoreboards were turned on in MPK. That's just my opinion. But, everybody knows where my opinion is. I think we ought to be on a pro tree, and I think we ought to have scoreboards on. But then somebody else will say, well, if you want to do that, go race somewhere else. But whatever. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. That's just what I like.
You mentioned earlier, Jim, about the Pro Chargers losing 25 pounds to begin the season. Now, there was a rule change, right? There was a weight break, maybe like middle of the season during the break for screw blowers, I believe. What was the change there, and did it affect anything really?
No, they allowed us to take some weight off and back up in overdrive.
Okay.
That is effectively known as the Kai Kelly rule.
Okay.
I love you, Kai, but I'd only ever seen that set of rules one other place, and when I seen that pop up, I was like, "Who in the world's going to run an 82 over?" Like, and I mean, look how light you get to be. And I was thinking, like, I don't know, my car would get that light if I made it remote control. Well, lo and behold, like 2 weeks later, Kai's new car's done, and it will get that light. And his tuner happens to run a series where that lower overdrive at a lighter weight is something that they're very common to do. And so then it made sense. But, and that's no nick at it at all. That's no jab. That set of rules has kind of been proven to be fair in another sanctioning body. And I think you can do that. I think there's nothing wrong with it.
Gotcha.
So,
okay.
But it just gave some more options, basically.
Yeah, this year they talked about, sticking on the rule subject, they talked about a more dedicated tech. Has that happened this year? And how do you think that it's affected how do you think it's affected the series?
We have the greatest tech department in all of drag racing right now. And the good news is he's in other sanctions also. So yes, that has been a really good thing. I do feel like they are doing a great job of keeping an eye on everybody. And I think that's why you've seen the parity that you've seen. I think that's why you've seen the different winners. I truly believe that. I think that, I mean, that's really what I think. Lewis has got a good thing. He said he thinks twins need a little weight break. The problem isn't the weight break on the twins deal. The problem is lack of surface at the top end of the racetrack. And I think that if they put everybody back on the 36 tire, then we would see you couldn't just give, like my thing is you can't just give it to one. You can't give the turbo guys a 36 and then tell everybody else they got to run the smaller tire. Because in no world does that make sense to give the highest horsepower car the bigger tire. But I think that if everybody went to the 36 tire, then I think that the twin turbo car would make leaps and bounds ahead of where it's at right now. And the problem with that is that then the one nitrous car that's running right now, and that's the Birds. The Birds would be maybe at a small disadvantage because then effectively the other cars go faster where they don't have any data on a 36 tire. However, PDRA Pro Boost runs on a 36 and those cars run 50s at the same weight that NPK is at. So
right.
Somewhere along the line you have to see it. And even like Jerry and Daryl, despite what everybody thinks here, Jerry and Daryl and I are actually very good friends and we talk quite a bit. We are going to fight in Martin, Michigan. I did want to tell you guys that. Jerry Bird and I have got a ring and we're setting it up at Martin, Michigan. We are going to go live and we're going to settle this thing once and for all. There's going to be some stipulations so that Jerry doesn't get banged up too bad, but we are going to fight live at Martin, Michigan, and it'll probably be, I think it'll be Thursday night. We're going to go live. But anyway, even Jerry Bird will tell you that they're not putting enough nitrous on the car. Like they could put more nitrous on the car, but the problem is they're not able to get the car to work consistently right now. And I'm not going to put it out there, but I've been telling them for 2 years what they need to do. And I just told him the other day before we left Vegas that the money he spent like, I'm great at telling you what you're doing wrong. I just suck at figuring out what I'm doing wrong. But anyway, the money you spent, chasing this thing, he could have already done what I said they needed to do. But those guys are truly like family, but we do have to settle our score, and we're going to fight at Martin, Michigan on Thursday night. So you guys you don't want to miss that. It's going to be awesome.
I gotta know some of the stipulations though. No hitting in the face, or what is it?
It's going to be nothing like you've ever seen.
I can only imagine.
We're going to have some fun.
Nice. You brought up Vegas just a minute ago. I saw your car in Vegas, and it was decked out with a whole new sponsorship. It looked like. Talk about that sponsor that came on board and how that's going and what you have planned with that.
All right, so I was named a brand ambassador for the National CBD Council, and that coincides with another business that I own. And we started a new business, Charge It USA, and it's a credit card processing payment solution. We do all things payment, ACH, everything. And we do from low risk to high risk transactions. But one of the biggest things is that we are the only processor currently in the United States that is business to bank, and the only credit card processor who can do cannabis transactions through credit cards.
Oh, nice.
So that allowed me to come over with the CBD guys. They have had a lot of problems in marketing the CBD product. There are a lot of people who are just uneducated, and they don't know, what the CBD stuff is. They think it's marijuana. They think they're going to get high from it. And so part of my job with them is to help educate. And I told them right up front that I have no filter, and I just want them to know right up front that this is who they're getting. And and this is how petty some of the people are. Within 24 hours of that announcement, we had certain trolls who were sending them emails telling them what kind of a POS I was, and bringing up all kinds of stuff that's never happened, just all kinds of stuff, and who they should have sponsored instead of me. And the great thing is that the people in charge actually forward me everything, so it's pretty cool. And they actually found it to be entertaining, and we'll just see how it is. It's a great opportunity for us to spread the news on something that can help so many people. My daughter Sienna is a prime example. Before she died, CBD was helping her. It'll help your dogs. It'll help a whole lot of other people, and there's nothing bad about it. It's just that getting the education out there for the folks has been something that needs to be done. So I'm looking forward to it, and we're going to keep on plugging away, and it's one of those things. It's the future. I mean, it's so many people, they don't think twice about going to the doctor and getting a script for Percocet, and they see nothing wrong with it, but they will. They'll turn their nose up whenever you tell somebody that you're treating with CBD or you're treating with cannabis. So that's really the big and middle of it. And like I said, I've always been me, and I'm not going to be somebody else. So some are going to like it, some are not.
Sponsorships are great, and especially the partnerships you can get where you can be you, and you don't gotta be a circus monkey for them.
Well, I turned down a very big brand over the winter who wanted the cross taken off the front of the car, and did not want me to profess my faith in my Lord Jesus Christ, didn't want me talking about it. And it was a $1.5 million deal, and I turned it down.
Jeez.
Now, that's been a real big pill to swallow all year. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been such a rough go. But with that being said, I stayed true to me, and I don't have any regrets in being me. I don't have any regrets in not forsaking, what I hold true. But
right.
I can say that that's been a many a night where I've wondered about, like maybe there was some other way I could have done it, but
right.
It actually kind of pissed me off, and I answered it in such a way that I don't think there would be a do-over.
Hey, you might as well at that point, right? You might as well just give them the truth.
They'll probably not ever call me back. I'll say that.
But this offseason, Jim, you had brought up Sienna a minute ago. This offseason, you talked about the Sienna Howe Foundation and how that was laid out and how you started that. How has that been going so far this year?
It's been going good. It's slow. I would have thought we'd have sold more entries. I would have thought we'd have sold more entries for the bike than what we have. I don't know the number, but I know it's not been great. You know what I mean? I'm going to offer whoever wins the bike a cash option also. We're going to give them a cash option or the bike. But, the reality of it all is it's our first go at it. But we've had a lot of people who have taken the time to spend money, and they've bought entries for it, and they wanted to help the foundation, and they wanted to help what we're doing with the schools. I actually had somebody from a school approach me today at lunch, who is a SRO at a school who had heard about what we're doing, and is a big fan of what we're doing and going around talking to these kids. So, really for me, that's the best thing about what we do away from the racing. I am in my element when I have a chance to, when I have a chance to fellowship with the kids and talk to them and encourage them and tell them that, not everybody's going to be a doctor or a lawyer, and it's okay to go into skilled trades. It's okay to pursue your dreams, no matter what it is. And, I've had a lot of parents who have reached out to me telling me how their kids have changed throughout the year, how their kids didn't feel like they fit in, but now they fit in. That stuff has been the most rewarding ever. So for that, we're just going to keep pushing forward, and we'll probably do another bike. We're going to do something next year. I just don't know what it is, but it's been a lot of fun. The biggest thing is we don't have a lot of time, and now we're adding the Pro Mod stuff to the mix, and I'm hoping that our schedule next year is not as huge. We do have 2 extra races that got added to us, and you guys will know about that soon.
I was gonna say next year's probably gonna be worse.
Yeah, like as if the one we have right now is not enough. There are 2 more races that are coming out that everybody will know about soon enough, and plus a street filming, and then right into the World Series of Pro Mod and all the other. I'm speechless right now. I need to back
There's
up.
no off season. There's not even any couple. There's not even any couple months off anymore. It's just nonstop.
No, Lewis, they're not qualifiers. It's a brand new format. I'm really excited about it. I'm super excited about it. And Sam, if you're watching this, and maybe you will, don't forget what you told me. If I come up with a good idea and it makes money, you're not going to forget me, because I remember the spring of the year when I gave you this idea. I even have it in my notes right here next to me. So, new format, something cool. It's going to be fun. And if it's a dud, then it wasn't my idea, and it was Sam's.
Love it. So you had said the people who try to win the bike, I believe this is one of the shirts you get for signing up.
Yep.
I couldn't remember if I just bought this or if I was, if it was registered into winning the bike or whatever. But yeah, this is the shirt. It's kind of how it's got the Guardian on the back. It's a nice shirt. It's a great foundation to get a part of. And it's, you get a chance at winning I don't know if anybody hasn't seen it, check out Jim's page. But he has tons of pictures on there of the bike that you could win. So
I love that bike. I mean, I got no lies to tell you. I love the bike. The bike is awesome.
Yeah,
it's going to make somebody a heck of a bike, or make somebody a good chunk of money in their pocket one way or the other. It's been a lot of fun. And Dan, the whole thing is, if you've ever done anything where you visualize something, and then when it's done, it looks in person the way you visualized it. That's how that bike came about. Literally, I traded a jacked up F-350 4-wheel drive truck that I had that I traded around on. I got it, and I was like, you know what? I said we should just give this thing the foundation, and I'll raffle it off. Well, then I was like, man, this big old truck, we ain't gonna bring it all the races. Like, how are we gonna do it? So I literally told my guys in the shop, and I told my wife, I said, I'm gonna trade this truck for a bike. I'm gonna trade it for a Harley, and then we're gonna customize a Harley, and we're gonna give that Harley away at the end of the year. Like, within a week, I come rolling up the shop on a Harley, and
yeah, remember that.
I traded that truck off for a Harley, and I told Dan, like, this is kind of how I want it to look. I talked to the guys down in Chattanooga at the Harley Davidson dealership that came on board with us. Told them what I wanted to do, and told Garrett, my paint and body guy, what I wanted to look like, and called RC Components and told them, this is the billet wheel I want. It's the same wheel that I run on the front of my car, but I want it for a Harley. And they built a sprocket that matches it, custom rotors on the bike, and super badass wheels that are chrome plated. And we built a heck of a bike. I mean, that thing, and it's a 107 cubic inch Vance and Hines deal. It is the rowdiest Harley I've ever drove. That thing is super, super rowdy. Like, it'll get you skin up. We got it done, and my son Jimmy wanted to take it up the road, and I said, look, I'd already drove it. And I said, you need to be careful on that thing's mean. He come back from a test drive, and he said, I've never felt a bike. It's got that kind of torque. Like, it's super torquey. It's fun to ride.
Yeah,
but it'll be somebody cool.
Is it the same color mixture as your car? I think you told me that your car is actually different every time you get it painted, something like that.
No, it's a one-off color that Garrett mixes. So the bike is exactly the same color as the car.
Gotcha. Awesome. That's a beautiful color.
It is. It's cool. Very, very cool. Lewis says, Jim, can you kill the rumor that MPE is going to be filmed? Yes, it is going to be filmed.
There you go. Killed it. If you want, Jim, we'll take a couple questions here before we get off, if you want.
Sure.
Luis, I was going to answer your question from earlier. I saw it. I am drinking Modelo. It is my favorite. Here's Luis has a question. Does your license allow you to have passengers in your 3-second cars? If you saw that one or not.
Well, there's no seat in the MPK car, but I do have a passenger side seat in the OG car.
There you go.
And I have definitely put people in it. Oh, here's a good one. Luis, would I let Stat Guy drive my car? Absolutely, I would. I'd strap his big butt in it and let him hammer down. We'd have some fun.
Yep, I'll go as fast as I can for 60 feet and let out.
The good thing about today's electronics, we can let him leave the starting line hard and then just make it bounce his head off the steering wheel.
Exactly.
But
yeah, I'd probably fit in your car, Jim. You're much smaller than me now, though. But
yeah, but it was built for me at 320 because like I was telling my wife today, I said I'm really happy. Like, I've managed to I've managed to keep my weight off, and she's on chat wanting to know if I'm going to give my wife a massage tonight. I am if she brings a friend. Yes, my wife is getting a massage tonight.
Kevla Johnson. You see NPK developing into a true racing series. I don't know what you mean by true racing series, but it's pretty true.
Well,
it's pretty real, if you ask me. But
there are things that I've been waiting for my wife to answer that. So, and I kind of expected what her answer would be. So that's funny. Are you seeing that?
Yeah, that's funny stuff right there.
So anyway, I was just telling her, I was happy I've been able to keep the weight off, and to be able to be where we're at, and that was a big thing. Calva Johnson's meaning like similar to NHRA or comparable. And I understand where she's coming. I can't. Sorry. Is it Kavla? Look, appears to be a girl in the photo. So if you're a man, then I'm sorry. If you're a girl, and I'm calling you anyway, Kavla. There are some things. There are some things that I think they are working towards, and that is to make this a premier. The premier sanction in all of drag racing, and I think that you will see that. There are some great people involved right now, and when they feel like making that announcement as to who they are and all the things that are coming, then that's for them to do and not for me. But I will say the evolution is amazing. And the evolution in what we've done, and like anything else, it takes, it's got some growing pains that go along with it. And this has been kind of a rebuilding year. So, I think that I know there's some new classes that are coming out next year. I do know that to be true. And I think that 2025 is going to be an epic year.
I'm excited for it.
Yep.
Chris Michael, you must be drinking some Patron while you're in the live chat.
He's got the true syrup. We need to get him on here. I love talking to Chris Michael when he's drinking tequila.
It's good times.
He is my favorite tequila drinker. He'll talk bad about people. He'll talk bad on people. He'll tell you his deepest secrets.
Luis, those lost tapes might not be lost forever.
True that.
Foreign.
Hey, listen, and not because he's on here, but there's a guy right there, a team right there that not a lot of people knew about. And look what they've done. And I mean, really, look what that team has done, and phenomenal job by those guys, and they'll tell you too, like it just sometimes some days you can't do anything wrong, and then some days it doesn't matter what you do, you just can't do it right.
Yeah, man. The hardest thing is consistency. That's in any sport, but fast you guys are going, as much stress you guys are putting on the motors, it's hard to be consistent. It's hard to not break stuff. So,
yep.
Well, Jim, I appreciate you coming on tonight, buddy. It's been a little while since we got to talk on a live stream, so I'm grateful for that. I wish you the best of luck in Michigan. I think, like I said before, I think the fans, myself included, want to see you go really fast, because we know you are really fast. I definitely want to see you in the elite, because your car is, worthy of being in the elite. So hopefully you make good a run. Hopefully you figured out your timing issues, and you have a good showing in Michigan.
I just feel like whatever is meant to be is going to be. We're going to go out there and give it our best. And, you know, I mean, we don't ever show up without the intention of winning the race. Just things just haven't aligned. And whatever that reason is, there's a reason. I'm a true believer. There is a reason why we have been pushed down the road we're on. Now, that reason might be it might be to make me appreciate it more. I don't know. But I've got a great bunch of people behind me, and you know, I've got fans who you know, support me no matter what.
Right.
And that's hard for me to understand, because when I go out there and shank it, like, they come by and they're like, "It's okay, get it next week." You know, and I mean, like, they take it way better than I do, because I hate like I don't mind to get beat. Like, if I have a straight up race with somebody and they just flat out run me, like that's just racing. That happens. But when we go out there and we have problems, or it's a, you know, like in some cases this year, we've seen several 1-lane racetracks. And anybody, Chris Michael will tell you, there's been some 1-lane racetracks this year, and I'll just leave it at that. But you know, that's drag racing, and that's what we sign up for, and you just don't ever know. It's a tough deal. Like, you don't know. Chip draw. The chip draw is everything. Yes, Paul, I watched Justin's big race in Texas. I stayed up all night. I actually fell asleep with the live feed in my ear, listening to it in my headphones. So that I was super pumped, you know, for those guys to go to Texas and do what they did. And, you know, I mean, he needs to ride that wave as long as he can, because he's on fire right now, and that's more power to him.
Yep.
But
it definitely comes in waves. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's been like, I can't. My hat goes off to Justin and his dad and the whole bunch. Yep. So, you know, I mean, that bunch is super dedicated, and they're doing a great job. And it just goes to show you, like, that's proof right there to the world that all those guys that talk about the MPK guys are slow. And Justin goes out there with a car that is definitely heavier than the cars he was racing against.
Yeah.
Definitely. And goes out there and mops the floor with them. And so, like, that's an awesome testament to their team. And it just goes to show you, you're not going to win if you don't show up. And those guys show up to they mean business. And so that's more power to them.
Yep. Agree.
I appreciate you having me on the show. I tend to do well after I'm on your show.
Well, there you go. I'm usually bad luck for everybody, all the drivers. That's what they say. Either I'll post a stat about them or I'll say something. I'm usually bad luck. I'm glad one of the drivers like yourself has told me I could be your good luck. So if that comes true, I'm gonna hold on to that one. If you do well.
Hey, if I win in Martin, Michigan, then we're just gonna have to co-host for the rest of the year every week.
I'm down. We'll do it. I'll make time.
Thanks,
all right, Jim.
Man.
Good luck, sir. I'll see you in Michigan.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.